There's already certain type, like human beings are born from certain intimacy contacts. They're born and it forms other beings. So there's no way every person that looked like you was brought from a ship anywhere. There's no way that was possible. So the fact that you're calling yourself an African American, if you figure that out, you will find the key to the majority. You know, we're gonna go deeper into it, but I say start there. Like we point the finger at the women, the men point the finger at the women. How in the, how will I blame my sister or my mama for all the problems that exist in this world? Like, and then how does she look at her son and say, "Nah, you the problem"? No, she's only gonna look at the men that she's had contact with and say they were the problem. You know, even when it technically could be her, or it could be him, or it could be we on the teacher planet. We all supposed to be learning, whichever way it is. I don't know, man. One of y'all take the breaks. I said we here. We just trying to figure it out.
Appreciate that insight. What one of the sisters got to say? One of the queens. Tell us about it. The men is blaming the women is blaming the men. What's y'all insight on it? Miss Khalida.
Sure, I'll go. I do not blame the men or the women. I blame the fact that we, like Brother Knowledge said, we are so disconnected from ourselves, from our land, our culture, who we are. We don't know, not enough of us know who we are or care to get to know who we really are. So we have taken on an identity that America has given us. And that's not us. Our strength is in our unity. Our strength in women, our strength as women is in supporting our men and being, the queen of the kingdom that is ruled by our men. At our core, and the way that our ancestors operated, it doesn't make you a weak woman to submit to your king and fall in line and do what is needed of you in the kingdom. Here in America, and the way that they have programmed us and the way that they, that they studied us and figured out how to break us, because we were that strong that they literally had to come together and study and talk about how do we break these niggas? How do we, that's the thing. Like, it all starts with our history and on our history. We're letting these people teach our children that, our history starts at slavery. Our history did not start at slavery. Our ancestors were not slaves. Our ancestors were, kings, queens, and warriors, and they were kidnapped and brought to a different land and, stripped of their language and culture and all this and all that, and then made into slaves. But we are not slaves. We are not descendants of slaves. Everything is in the programming and the education and what we put into our children. And so as women and how it is now, how society has pit Black women against Black men and made us feel like, oh, I don't need that nigga, and I don't need a man, and I don't need this. And that's 100% false. As a woman and as a Black woman who, no matter what situation I have with a man and how they may have done me wrong, I need my man. I need my Black man, period. There's no other way around that. If we didn't need our men, then we would produce asexually like some other species. We cannot produce and carry on our legacies without our men. So that's out of the question. And until we are united and we understand the power in that unity, and that's in our family, we will continue to have disunity and dysfunction. And so a lot of that is going to go back to that, us doing some healing and understanding that, yes, I'm a woman. Yes, I can be strong and I can hold things down in the absence of my man. But that's not how it's supposed to operate. My man is supposed to be the head of the household. He's supposed to lead us. He's supposed to lead our community. And when he is back in his rightful place and he's back ready to rule his kingdom again, it is my job. It is my duty to my man, my family, my kingdom, my community to step back and now fall in line as the nurturer and supporter and, counsel to the king that can rule the kingdom. There should not be a power struggle between the Black man and the Black woman. That is not us. That's not for us. That's something that was given to us by America. And so we need to be we need to be deprogrammed and re-educate it, and go from there. And then we can begin to heal and grow and rule, because once we are united, once we are educated, united, focused, there is no stopping us, and we will rule and we will be supreme, and there will be no question in that.
I can dig that. Appreciate that insight, Miss Kiana.
Body.
What you think about it?
I agree 100%. A lot of it is all it is we're programmed, and we're programmed daily. Even so, I'll say we're programmed with how we're battling and beefing with one another, because if you look at it, it's all on social media. Everything that we're doing is all on social media, and the media is taking that and running with it, and they're showing, everybody like, hey, they can't even get along about this. Like, how are we sitting here trusting them or making them a priority or trying to give them rights when they can't even decide on who's the problem? A lot of it is ego. A lot of men and women, especially amongst Black women and Black men, like, we have an ego and a power trip. And no, as a Black woman, I don't want to beef with my man or my brother or my uncle, or I don't want to beef with you about the role that I'm supposed to play. Like, I don't want to beef with you about that. I want to know that you can lead and then I can follow efficiently. But it's not, I can't say, I can only speak from me and from my perspective, because I can't speak on what everybody else does. For me, I had to do healing. I had to work on me, and I'm still working on healing myself, so that when I do come in contact with the person that I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with, like, there won't be a power struggle or ego trip, or I won't know, like, hey, let me back up, or I'm doing too much, or I'm running this man off. But I want that person as well to figure his stuff out too. So when we come together, like, we're coming together as a union, and we're building each other up and not tearing each other down because we bring in old baggage into something. So it's kind of where I am with it. I'm not as deep as y'all are as far as like going back to that time, but I know that is where most of our problems lie. And but we can't keep laying there. We have to remember, like, we're here now. How are we gonna fix it now? What are we doing to fix this now? How are we gonna fix it now? Because if we keep looking in the past, we're gonna stay there, and we're not gonna see that they steady doing stuff to keep us there and not pull us forward.
I can dig that. I appreciate that insight, Queen. Like she said, the time is now, the past is gone, and the future ain't here yet. So although we have to reflect on the past and visualize the future, but the current time is now. So it's a lot of men that's blaming the women, it's a lot of women that's blaming the men. I think we have to take self-accountability. And me personally, I blame the men, the women, and the system, because the programs, we're programmed to be against each other. It's the oppressor's job to keep us divided. So once we know that, we have to coexist within each other. A man and a woman union is pro-life. It creates life. So this, if you thinking like your woman, fuck these niggas, I don't need a man. That's toxic. If you're a man, you like these. That's toxic. You hear me? So your mentality creates your reality most of the time. So man, it's good that we come together and have these think tanks with the men and women, so it doesn't seem like we just jumping on the women and with the women just jumping on the men. But me personally, the women have been dogging the men out for centuries or years. You hear me? So now the men is on some fighting back, and now the women is they dogging. Hey man, it's a reflection. You're holding up a mirror. You hear me? If I keep calling you a piece of yeah. And then now you hold the mirror back up, just to spark up some conversation. The single mom, the mom in a Black family is also held to a higher standard than the father. Why is the mom held up to a higher standard than the father? Maybe it's because the woman's there and the daddy's off creating another family and doing whatever it is he's doing. So the women are justified in their complaints, but the men as well. A lot of women, I think, personally carry their baggage into the new relationship. Men as well. I can't base my previous relationship off of past experiences. I just want to be happy. That's a personal emotion. So that's my little piece right there. Knowledge, what you got for me, man?
Bruh, I can only say one way. One way, God body, one way. Um, I'm starting off like Michael Jackson say. I gotta start off with the man in the mirror, bruh. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm a man, so I have to address men amongst men. I can't really address the women, although I want to so bad. There's so much that I can tell women about health for themselves, about wellness for themselves, about healing a certain way. There's a certain way we could definitely deal with the women, but for the sake of young men and developing young men, I got to start with men first. You know what I'm saying? Men are the majority of women's problems, but women are attempting to raise men without men around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just keep it 100. A lot of girls, man, there's a lot of women out there, young ladies out there that never felt the love of their father.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what it felt like for their father to really love them. So how they know what they looking for when they get older? They don't know. They trying to teach their son how to piss like they done never stood up and pissed before. You know what I'm saying? Like there is a much needed attention and value to place on certain things, but you know, most men don't know this. The one thing a woman really wants to know is that you can teach her. You know what I'm saying? That you know how to survive when she don't. This is one of the number one things that women really look for when somebody say, "How much do the man gotta make?" Nah, I just need that motherfucker gonna make sure everything is cool when I think it ain't cool. He gonna make it cool. Boom, problem solved. But most men are not even on the cusp of that level where the woman say, "Damn, I see so much potential that," you know what I'm saying? But there is yeah, like I say, there's a lack of real men being around the younger men. So man, when you say the disunity in our community, it is strictly because we don't know our power. Like we don't know, we've given our power to everything else except ourselves. Period.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I
That's
can
Kiana,
real.
dig
that's
that.
that's you. You go on it. That's my take on that.
I can dig
No, that's
that.
real.
Appreciate that insight
That's
too.
real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's real. Um, I don't know. I can speak to the fact that I didn't have the opportunity to grow up with a father in a household. So or around. And I'm not afraid to say that I never knew who my father was. But once I remember all the time hearing how that's a problem that equated to who I was, and how me not knowing that, identifying who he was or having an example of that, made me make bad decisions. Yes, I did. But it got to a point I was like, how much longer can I blame my mom, my dad, society, and everybody else for what I'm doing? Because eventually, like what they say, when you a child, like your sins falls on your parents, right? Then once you become adult, you get some type of knowledge and you start learning, you start searching for the information. Like once I came of age to where I knew who God was and understand like the power in God, that's when I took on accountability. So any mistakes that I was making, that fell on me. That was for me to learn. So I have to again take this journey, figure out where did I go wrong, because a lot of time as women we do take our old baggage into new relationships, and we break those men that we're with, and we create problems for
Mhm.
the next woman, because we didn't properly figure out what the heck was going on with us before we jumped into this new relationship. That's why I am a big advocate for therapy, because therapy taught me how to properly handle my emotions, because I am a woman. I am very emotional. I also learned how to logically think about stuff before I decided to do things. Am I still struggling with it? Of course, I'm human. I'm taking what? I'm 33. I'm taking 33. Well, I'd say I'm taking 29 years of junk and trying to break a cycle and retrain myself how to properly navigate with different human beings. That's hard. 29 years? And now I'm trying to learn how to properly navigate and talk to men. Like I don't like calling men niggas. Like I do it at times, but I hate doing it because y'all deserve more than being called a nigga. Y'all deserve more than that. So if I quit calling you a nigga, in my mind, I'm learning to respect you. So now I can, if I learn how to properly respect you, I feel like you'll properly respect me. And then we on the right track of fixing broken situations between me and, us and me. That's my intake. Like once we change how we talk to y'all and the names that we call y'all, that'll help as well. That'll change a lot of the hatred and what we see. Because if I'm saying nigga, in a sense, sometimes it does come off as disrespectful. I don't mean it, but that's how it comes off. So then it causes problems. So now it's like, nah, sir, or what's up, man? What's up? Or address you by your name. So I think if we start there, like how we address y'all, that'll start tearing down some of those barriers and peeling back layers to figure out how we can properly communicate and build better relationships.
Hey, I can dig that. Appreciate that insight too, mama. I'm agreeing with the word nigga. I agree and I disagree, or I straddle the fence. That's a better way to put it, because you hear me? That's right though, what you're saying, because that's a term. It's the derogative term from the Jump Street when they gave it to that name to us. But we have some people who use it as a term of endearment or embracement. That's my nigga right there. This nigga right there, man. You know what I mean? We're like, that nigga right there. I'll be like, that's my nigga. So it is a term of endearment, and it is a derogative term as well. Speech, words program the brain. As a man thinketh, they said it's the same thing with the women. So we got to do better. And just the fact of the matter, just from my part, it's plenty of good men and women out here. There's plenty.
It is.
People got to get over their own egos. That's I've been in prison 9 years. The worst type of prison you can be in is the prison of your own mind. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't see that man needs woman and woman needs man, and we got to keep the legacy alive. Your own legacy is a woman. Nobody should be laying up, you hear me, without love, companionship, caring, sharing, embracing the differences. There's not going to be people that's going to be in sync. You got to get in sync. You got to learn to respect people. You got to grow to love people. It's not going to start off. There's no perfect relationship. And so if people is looking for it to be a perfect relationship, that's probably a problem right there. So, but we can grow. Miss Khalida, you've been ducked out. You see, you've been happy birthday to you. You pulling up. I wish I could pull up. You hear me? Yeah, happy birthday.
Pulling up. You hear me?
Hey, pulling up.
Whoa,
We don't want you to we got to get you in there before you start sounding like old boy earlier. You hear me?
We don't need no problem.
Yeah, we gotta get you in there.
Yeah,
it's gonna go from intelligent to belligerent real quick. Like,
we don't want to kick you off, ma'am. We don't want to kick you off. No. We don't want to kick you off. Don't get crazy.
I can dig it. How old you turn?
I'm 41. I'll be
41. 41 years young. That's right. 41 years young.
Man,
that's right.
I'm trying to aspire. I'm gonna aspire to get there.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I'm born and raised in Chicago. And every year reflection on how many of my family and friends didn't make it. I started doing that at 21. How many of my family and friends didn't make it to 21, and then 30, like every milestone. So now every year is like, it's a blessing, and I don't take that lightly. So yeah.
Chicago, one of them cities where they like, damn, she from Chicago, like what block you from? Like, do you even feel comfortable saying that kind of shit with the way they look at Chicago? Like, you know what I'm saying?
We don't do what blocks we from in Chicago. We do like, are you from out west or up north or over east, out south type thing? So, I bounced around a little bit. I was back and forth between my mother and my father and their sides of the family. So, I'm from over east, I guess, East Side Crazy, and then also Wild Hunters. Wild Hunters made me. So, that's like Crucial Conflict. Some stuff they say back in the day, huh? Yeah, but Crucial Conflict is from out west, though.
Okay, okay. I thought I
Yeah,
heard them say,
but,
okay. Well,
I don't know nothing about it.
we keep track of that through music, and I'm
yeah.
happy the goddesses is on here due to that because me and Dirk, we constantly talk about the music influence on young people, or the
Yeah.
music influence even on older people. Like
Mhm.
me, it is my personal belief. I don't. First of all, it's my name is Knowledge, so let's throw beliefs out the window because the first four letters of the word knowledge. I think that you have to unturn every stone and under that stone, and then figure out what's under that. And then I'm not with the whole belief thing. Like if you have a belief system, yeah, I'm probably gonna crash your hard drive. Like let's get to that like off top. If you really have a belief system where the only thing you're doing is seeking to believe, yeah, I'm probably gonna throw you off somewhere. We're probably gonna be distant relatives. But I say me and Dirty talk about the music a whole lot because of this. You have people who pay people to say certain things in music. Um, if you want to sell hunger, you'll get Little Mbutu in Africa where flies are flying around him and you record Little Mbutu for $1 a day. You can support all of South Africa. This was showed to us at some point. So now we look at the music nowadays. Young men, what are they? They spinners, they steppers, they hustlers, they all this is the image that you sell. So then when you go get little young men that have nothing to do with nothing you're talking about, it's easy to say they like Young Thug. You know, Young Thug have 28 people testifying against him. What can you say? You can't say he's not wrong. This is the developments that you lead your. It's like when they say leading sheep to the slaughter. This is what we do. We say it's cool. You first just to go on with it, even though you see all these things happen that you can't stop. You say I'm forced to go along with it. I gotta go to work in the morning. I gotta pay bills. I gotta do. So when you look at it, you say you're a man, you say fuck that. You're not going to the preacher. I'm the preacher. You know what I'm saying? Like when you are a true man, you say you look at your woman, you say, I don't argue with you. You're not gonna ever call me a bitch again. You a man. You're not ever in your life gonna say bitch around me again. That woman gonna look at you and she gonna say, I respect that. But when you start arguing back and forth with the woman, guess what she do? She can say, fuck you, bitch. You know what I'm saying? This is the realization of the world we in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like some of this, I almost call them stupid, but people that say they're pimps and all of these different things, they say, hey, man, you can't tell a woman something and then don't do it. So why would you argue and go back and forth if you're a man with a woman? But a woman can't teach her son that. You know what I'm saying? So this is why it's important for men to be around their sons. It's important for a man to tell their daughter, I love you, lady, because the next man, he's just gonna be looking at you like I'm gonna jump up and down like a pogo stick, and your kids need to be quiet. It's crazy. This world we in is crazy. So I say the disunity between the what we call an African American struggle is a culture identity crisis. You know, once we know who we are, we automatically realize, man, I love my sisters. I love my brother. Like I love them people. It ain't even nothing with them people. We'll realize that instantly. But the moment we keep thinking, man, these bitches, they wearing this, they won't wear their real hair. Look at their eyelash. As long as we men and we trying to think on women, it's what it is. But the moment we realize it's something there bigger than that, man, we saw our issue already. But I'm not going to continue to argue or try to make people believe who they are. Like, that's what we be at. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Y'all take it from there.
Hey, I can dig that, man. I appreciate that insight from all y'all. I appreciate the queens for pulling up. So, my closing statement is a man and a woman is a joint, is a relationship. Although a woman can't raise a man, she can make a man a better man. But she can't raise a man, though. But she can make a man a love and a man's love for a woman will make him a better man, and vice versa. So we need to be pushing African American union, African American marriage, African American culture. You know, right now, technically, that's the title that we're under right now. You know, I understand the free thinking and all that. As far as African American and blacks, it doesn't tie you into a nationality, but that's the title that we are. So where's the land of African Americans? Where's the land of black people? China is for Chinese people. You know, although Africa is for Africans, you know, this is the motherland. This is, we navigated here. We migrated here. They brought some of us here on slave ships, but we were already here. We are the indigenous people to this land, as well as Asia. You know, where science tells the true story, but you instill those belief systems, you know, the religious indoctrination, oh, this man was over here and this land. No, that's not the story. So in closing, man, we got to do better. You know, I love all y'all. I love my brothers. I love my sisters, you know, so we got to show love because they sure taught us how to hate each other. In closing.
I mean, yeah, they did teach us how to hate each other, but I'll say this. I decided I'm in college to get a degree in psychology. And out of all my professors, I have one black professor. My black professor teaches American government. Very intelligent man. Do you know how it makes me feel to sit in a classroom and look at somebody who looks like me teaching American government from his perspective? And I'm not talking about whitewash perspective. I mean, from a black man's perspective who spent time in corporate, knows what it feels to be the smartest man in the room and be, you know, try to demean or made feel like, hey, you know, really, you know what I'm saying? Like you a problem. And that makes me feel good because I'm like, man, I'm not learning from a white person's perspective. I'm learning from somebody who looks like me, who's navigating in this world or who's navigated in this world. And he's just trying to do better and educate people that look like him. And I know one thing he always tells us is we need to read. And not enough of us read. We don't even take time to read a newspaper or a small article. You know how many like articles there are out there talking about like, you know, just black people sometimes? Like small thing about us. We won't take time to read those and they're hidden. And we have some people who look like us who are great writers, but your own people won't even take the time to look at your article and promote you and help make sure that you get further because we need that. So my point is there's nothing wrong with the history that's being taught. It's just who's teaching that history. And when you don't have enough people that look like you teaching history, it makes you not even want to believe what's really going on. Because my professor always say like, hey, we were already here. He said stuff like that to us, and we're in a college. So that tells me like you know the truth, and you're not settling for just teaching what they're telling you to teach us. You're teaching us the truth and letting us know that as black people, we need to do better. We need to come together. We need to build community, and we need to go out here and stand up for ourselves. As long as we're not standing up for ourselves, they're gonna continue to do what they're doing to us, which is tearing us down, putting us in these neighborhoods that's not good for us, and telling us, hey, this is all that you can do. It's so much more we can do, but we won't come together and build community. We have yet to come together and build community. All the neighborhoods are called hoods. Nobody wants to be in the hood. Nobody wants to be in the hood. But we don't have communities of people that look like us where we can come together, build, grow, and provide what each one of us need. So until we get enough people in those seats to teach and educate people that's coming up like me or even younger than me, we're going to continue to have these problems.
Appreciate that insight, Queen. Miss Khalida.
Yes. I'm gonna try to keep it brief and touch a few points. This absolutely, you know, the professor and you know he's teaching some things that's amazing. But I have to disagree with you on it doesn't matter, you know, as far as the history that's being taught. If depending on what type of institution you're in, they're only gonna teach you so much because they're only allowed to. Like they're on a short leash. He might say some things that have not been said before, or that you think are, you know, a little more real and unconventional, but that's not the case. Because if he really starts teaching some real shit, like they're gonna yank that leash, and that's gonna be the end of that. This happens all day, every day. When somebody says something, step out of line, they fire them. When we talking about educational, when we talking about educating our people, you can't be in their institutions and think that you are going to get a real education as far as you and your people and your history, because it's not in their best interest to teach us and our children the real history, because they know that if they give it to us real raw, that's what's going to unite us and make us rise up and take back what's ours anyway. They're never going to teach you that. So it's important for us to read, it's important for us to learn, but it's also important for us to understand that when things are introduced to you, we need to think critically. We need to be able to go beyond that and be like, you know what, let me find out what's really going on with this. Let me, you know, we need to talk to elders. We need to do our own research outside of these schools and institutions, because that's not what's for us. I did want to touch on what Brother Knowledge said about identity crisis and music and a few other things related to certain, you know, rappers and all that. I won't speak on names and this and that, but what I will say is I have a teenage son. I'm always in my teenage son's ear about a few things. Number one, I don't even want you to listen to a rapper that's walking around painting his fingernails and wearing skirts and shit. That ain't what I want for my child. I don't give a fuck how many bodies they got. Excuse my language. I don't care what they got going on in these streets. I do not. And my son, that's me. My son will not. Now I ain't gonna say you can't listen to street music and this and that, because I get real deep with him about the reasons why. Okay, so if we fall into what society is saying, you know, this is correct and you have to do this and you have to accept this and accept that, right? We can accept it to the point that we're not judging, we're not hating, we're not doing this and that. I'm not teaching that shit to my son, and I don't want him following anybody that subscribes to that. I don't, you know, they got, you know, doing that weird shit. That's just not for me and my black son. And that's not how we keep our lineage alive and how we build what we need to build in our communities. Same thing with identity crisis. That's a big part of it too. Like us knowing who we are and or knowing that we don't know. You know, look, I don't know this. I need to get into this. I'm not gonna let these people tell me, you know, this is who you are. This, you know, this is what you are. This is where you started here, and this is what you have to look forward to, and this and that. Like, we have to know that the fire and all that we feel in us, and that fight and everything that they're trying to suppress in us, like that's our identity. Like, we are warriors and fighters and creators and builders and inventors. And once we know that, and once we all get on the same page, like right now, you know, we got in these what we say our hoods or whatever, and we got the guys and the young guys, and they warring, and you know, they just once we are able to educate them and channel that aggression in the right direction and make it work for us, like, it's over. That's it. We already know. We know how to grow food, and we know how to cook, and we know how to make something out of nothing. And our people are creating, and we in tech and all these other areas that they thought that we couldn't be in. We know that we can start from scratch without them. They cannot start from scratch without us. That's why they went to Africa and did all of that and snatched us up by any means necessary and killed the ones who wouldn't comply, because they could not build and grow and develop without us. We can't do it without them. We continue to do it without them on every continent on the planet. We continue to do that. When they strip everything from us, we build that shit right back up. It's important for us to all get together and understand that this is who we are. We need us. That's it. We need to get us some land, start small, and then just grow from there and do our own shit. We don't need them policing our communities. We don't need them in our hospitals. We don't need them doing any of that, because all they do is come and take our ideas and, you know, our genius and figure out how to profit off of it. You know, they'll pick your brain and do all that, and they'll go patent your shit, make $1 billion off of it, and do this and do that. They come in our communities and they killing our babies, like, you know, because it's a threat to them. If a young black man is a threat to you just because he's black or he's this or is that, it just shows how weak you are. And it just shows why we cannot continue to bow down and give this power to these people and believe them when they say that they are more powerful or, you know, superior to us. If you got on a badge and you got a gun and you got this and you got that, you got a young black man, and because he's young and black, that shit make you fear for your life. That's what's supposed to let us know our power. It's power in that just your presence can make a man with 2 guns on him and a taser and this and that nigga still nervous. That's power. And that's what we need to understand and tap into, and that's what we need to teach our babies. We need to stop teaching them about, going to the NBA and the NFL and all this other shit where you go and, you have team owners who still own all these young black men, and you make $100 million. But as soon as you say, I'm for my people and I don't appreciate this and that, then they silence you and they publicly emasculate you and publicly buck break you like they have done to so many black men. So that shit is really important. That's where we need to start. We all need to start with coming together, understanding that we can't make it without each other. There is no future of black people if black men and black women are not united. If we all go somewhere else and say, to hell with black men, I'm going to give me a white man. Now I'm going to have a baby and my baby is mixed. And when my baby go and procreate with another white person, that's it. Now my blood is white. That's it. We're over. We're extinct.
It's over.
It happens quickly. So there is no one without the other. And when we get to that point and we understand that, we will be powerful and we will be unstoppable. We just got to work together to do that.
Appreciate that insight, sis. That's a drop the mic speech right there. Knowledge what you got for me. Real quick in closing.
She dropped the mic. I'm supposed to even say anything for real. I'm like, yeah, bro. I don't know if I'm supposed to say something, but hey, like,
that's a good
what can you say?
Hey,
what can you say?
I'm gonna shock people. Shout out to the LGBTQ. I don't know what that community. Hey, shout out to them because of this right here. I'm gonna drop something that most people not used to. Dirty probably heard it, but however which way, this right here. The majority of people that are in that community are not even what they call themselves. They're actually mediums. Most of these men who think that they women, that they feel a feminine aspect, but they were born with a male aspect. Some of them got 12 inches of male aspect, on them. You know what I'm saying? But hey, at the same time, they say, man, I'm feminine. However, whatever. I'm not gonna argue with what people say. What I'm gonna say is, in a lot of societies prior to this society, those same people dressed similar to women, but like priests, like high spiritual people. They were mediums where they tapped in. They tapped in. They didn't have sex with men or women, but they were tapped in. They were like nuns, however which way. But now we're in a perverted society. So this perverted society, we want to say, what's wrong with the men and the women? What's wrong with them? They are perverted. Like, let's keep it 100. The men want to lie. The women want to lie. Like, we all want to lie. But you say, women, what do you want in a man? 6 figures, 12 inches, 6'10". This is what the women want. Like, look, she laughing like a motherfucker. Hey, this is,
I'm laughing because of prior conversation.
I know. So it's like, hey, put it all in one. Then you say, what's the
We're
problem
gonna
with people?
We're gonna do the 6-figure conversation next time because Dirty got a movie.
Hey, real talk.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you being thoughtful. Appreciate you being thoughtful.
You so thoughtful. Look at that. You so thoughtful.
Somebody is. I'm here telling you.
Hey, that's what we out of it, man. We gotta start from the beginning to get to the end. We can't blame the women. The women, y'all don't blame these guys. Y'all raise sons. And the majority of sons you raise is somebody you wouldn't date. Like, let's keep it real. You didn't make him wash dishes, clean his room. You didn't make him do the things that cause response. You know what I'm saying? So you say responsibility is the ability to respond. You didn't teach your son to respond because you didn't know how a man would respond. And we're not knocking the women for that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't your fault. Certain things men wasn't taught about women. There's problems with it. So, hey, you know what I'm saying? That's my ending response to this whole thing, man. There is no man or woman beef. I love these guys, man. I want to see the best for these women, the seeds they have, the offsprings that's created from that. Just like our ancestors, they wanted us, bruh. You talking about the ones who built the pyramids? Imagine what they wanted to see from us right now.
All right. Appreciate
all right. We don't have to keep talking.
All right. Thank you for having us. Thank y'all for inviting me on the platform. Thank y'all for us. It was beautiful. I look forward to connecting and having further conversations. It was amazing.
God
Hey,
body.
appreciate y'all pulling up. Y'all could have been anywhere else, but y'all pulling up and y'all messing with us. One love. Peace to the guys and goddesses.